And we are really glad and proud to have someone like you, of course, representing Peru. And in this sport that is, of course, swimming, that it's not common here maybe, but in the USA, I guess it's more common than here, okay? So first of all, I would like to know, how are you? How you doing? How are you spending these days after the South American that you had in Buenos Aires?
Yeah, so when I got back from Buenos Aires, I came straight back off the flight, straight to some practice. I kind of just did a loosen out from the plane just because it was a 10-hour plane ride from Buenos Aires to Houston, Texas, and then 2.5 hours from Texas to Tennessee. And then after that, I rested. I've just been resting and just swimming, practice, really just catching up on sleep, recovery, studying a little bit, and that's about it.
Now, I would like to know about this experience, right? I know that you represent Peru for many years, but maybe this opportunity was special because of the situation that we're living around the world, right? And maybe even your preparation was different from other years.
Yeah, definitely. Especially, I mean, this year was a lot different in my preparation. I think, especially with my training, just because I've changed up my training. Came from Texas A&M, where the training was very old school, old fashioned. Coming on over here and it was a lot of yards. We did a lot of swimming back at Texas A&M, and here at Tennessee, it's a lot of science, it's a lot of technology, sprint work. And so I think for me and for swimmers, you know, I have the aerobic capacity in the bank. I have that saved up, and that's great to help bring home a race. But here at Tennessee, we work a lot on details on the technical side of the strokes, the getting out in the race so that you have a lot coming back home. So just for me, everything's coming together, and I've never done this type of training before. So it's fun to kind of switch it up. And I think that's been a really big difference compared to the years prior, was just the difference in training.
Yes, that's true. And Alexia, for example, I know that maybe you hear this question many times, but how do you start swimming? I mean, as a professional, because I guess that as a child, of course, you start swimming as a hobby, right? But then when was the moment that you thought, okay, I really want to do this in a professional modality?
Probably back in high school. I was surrounded. I swam for the Bowles School Sharks. And at the time, I was teammates with Joseph Schooling, who's an Olympic medalist from Singapore, Ryan Murphy, who's a USA Olympic medalist in swimming, Caleb Dressel, again, Olympic medalist. I was just surrounded by a lot of really fast swimmers. And to kind of be exposed to that and the meets that they were going to, it just presented an opportunity in my head where I said, you know what, this is something pretty incredible. I want to be part of it. I want to be part of this elite, you know, level of swimming.
Did your family accept this from the beginning, or maybe they thought, oh my God, this is going to be hard, right? Because it's competition, it's traveling, and it's representing maybe a country.
Oh, they were extremely supportive from the beginning. They really try to foster my competitiveness and the best way that they can. And so they always have pushed me to do more things, you know, to go to more meets, to, you know, be more competitive. So yeah, they were extremely supportive from the beginning.
What about a situation of swimming in the USA? I suppose that it's different from here. You are in another level. Maybe you have more options to practice it, and the level, of course. What about the other persons that also practice swimming? Did you think in a moment maybe that it would be too difficult for you?
No, you know, this has been my life for almost 20 years. And so I've never not known what life is without swimming, without the craziness, without the rigorous schedule, the structure, the early mornings, the doubles, you know, all of that. So for me, it's nothing new. There's not a point in my life where I said, I can't do this, because it's all that I know.
And what about the moment that you decided to represent Peru? Because I've heard that I've read that you have 3 citizenships, right?
Yeah, so that I do. So Peru, USA, and then Italy. And it was about 8 years ago. And my grandfather was the one, he's Peruvian, he's from Lima. That's where he lived. And he had kind of mentioned to me that he always wanted me to represent Peru, just the pride that he has in his country and how much love I have for, my family and my culture, like part of where I came from. And so with that really initiated me to take the next step in representing Peru in an international level.
Have you ever had this close relationship with Peru, or is something that you have been learning in each competition, or maybe with your partners here?
No, I think I have established really good bonds from the beginning, and a lot of us have grown and gone through this process together. And so, of course, there are new people that kind of come in and you meet, but it's very natural. Like thankfully, a lot of people speak English on the team. So it's very easy to communicate. And, and I practice my Spanish, of course, from time to time. But no, I never felt that it was, that I feel disconnected or anything like that. Like it's always been a strong bond from the beginning. We all have one goal, and that's to represent Peru to the best of our ability. And so I think with that, it's easy to be a cohesive group.
How is the environment of the Peruvian competitors? I mean, for example, you share time with Alexis Sotomayor, with Maria Fe Muñoz, right? What about this relationship?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a very nurturing, I think, we all want the best for each other. We all want to win. We all want to be the best swimmers that we can be. And so I think, I haven't known Alexia for so long. Mafe, I've known for a little bit longer, but nonetheless, meet that we go to, we just want each other to be better. And so again, it's a very nurturing environment where it's like, you can do this too. And for Alexia, Alexia is super young. She's up and rising. She's going to be an incredible backstroker, an incredible swimmer for the country of Peru. And I mean, she's making her way. So I'm excited to see kind of what she does, but it's important that you kind of lead that path and show them that they can do all these amazing things, because anything's possible.
Now, what do you think about the South American level, Mckenna?
I love it. I think you got great competition. Everyone in South America has incredible pride in their country. So everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to represent their country to the best of their ability. And that's what I love about it, is that just the level of passion people have in South America makes you compete better. And within yourself, you want to be the best. So you want to rise up to that level that all these other competitors are at. So for me, it helps push me to be better every day.
And I guess you had a really close experience with South Americans in the Pan American Games, right? And then you have all the public. I suppose that they were, of course, looking for you to have the best results, and you got the 5th place, Mckenna. What about this experience in the Pan American Games here in Lima?
It has to be that 200 IM that I placed 5th has to be one of my most memorable races of my career. I remember walking out and seeing the stadium packed. The level of pride Peru has for their people is out of this world. I mean, you don't experience that anywhere else. And so for me, I mean, it was just, that race was like pure pride and emotion that I have for the country and for the people. Like, you felt their energy. I just remember coming up on breaststroke and hearing them go crazy. And I was like, holy, like they were moving me. I mean, they were literally moving me through the water. So that to me was an incredible, I mean, hands down, one of the best experiences of my life.
Yes, definitely. That's something that most athletes say about Peru, right? That we are really enthusiastic and we have a lot of passion, right? When it's about competitions. Now, you start with the Dynamo Long Course Senior 2021, right? And you beat the record as you did in the South American. I would like to know, which is your favorite modality? I guess it's 100, 200 meters maybe, but I would like to know.
Right. I think it's hard. The 100-meter backstroke is a lot of fun because to me it's a short race, right? It's fun, it's sprinty. To me there's not a lot of pressure. I also like probably the 200 IM the most, just because you get everything in one race, and also the race is constantly changing. Who's leading? I mean, it's, everyone has their strengths and weaknesses within the race. So I think it's a fun race where you're like, you don't know who's gonna win at the beginning of the race, because every stroke is different and there's so much that can change within that event. You can do so much. So I really like that about the 200 IM.
That's perfect, Mckenna. And then we're going to continue with you, because I have other questions related to the Olympic Games that are really close to begin. And I know that you're really excited because of this. But first, I would like to talk also with your mom, with Alexandra. Hello, Alexandra, how are you?
Hola.
We're really glad to have you here. Well, you speak Spanish, so podemos cambiar un poquito la tonalidad al español, aprovechando esto. Alexandra, ¿cómo estás? Cuéntame, ¿cómo estás viviendo este buen momento de Mckenna, obviamente, con esta proyección gigante de además participar en Tokio 2020?
Con total orgullo. Estamos felices. Ella ha puesto mucho esfuerzo y tiempo en esta carrera, vamos a decir, de natación, y ver que está sacando resultados buenos es orgullo de nosotros, y bueno, y orgullo para ella, ¿me entiendes? Que puede representar el país en una buena forma, y de que su trabajo, todo su esfuerzo que ha hecho, que le está resultando bien, porque obviamente con cualquier deporte y con las cosas de la vida, a veces te sale bien, a veces no te sale bien, pero que estés en un buen camino, sacando buenas cosas, y que estás feliz haciéndolo, eso es lo más importante. Se hizo freezing.
Parece que Rosita se ha ido. Alessandra, voy a retomar mientras Rosita regresa. Cuéntanos lo que representa para ti. Tú has sido remera, nos comentabas. ¿De qué manera ha influido tu actividad deportiva, o cómo se inclina ella? Obviamente la natación no tiene mucho que ver, entre comillas, con el remo, pero sin embargo, ¿cómo así se une esta pasión de Mckenna por la natación? Y tú también, ¿cómo te desarrollaste en la actividad deportiva? Cuéntanos, Alessandra, por favor.
Bueno, de jovencita, yo los deportes, estar afuera me encantaba. Entonces, yo comencé, bueno, así como diferentes, me tienes corriendo, cosas así. Cuando en el colegio jugué el softball y el voleibol, en el high school, y jugué softball. A mí me becaron por un año para softball, pero no sé, medio que perdí el interés, y después vi el equipo de remo y no sé, me parecía interesante. Y así comenzó. Entonces yo siempre he estado involucrado, ahora hasta como adulta. Yo juego tenis competitivamente, también corro, y seguimos remando, mi esposo y yo, seguimos. Y nosotros competimos en el Mundial, Masters, en todo, por todo el mundo, remando.
Correcto, y mientras recuperamos la comunicación con Rosita Muñoz en instantes, dice que no escucha nada, Rosita, parece que se ha ido el audio. Sin embargo, ¿dónde está el punto de quiebre cuando Mckenna decide ser nadadora? ¿En qué instantes ustedes se dan cuenta, o ella misma, o un familiar, o un entrenador? ¿Dónde está ese nacimiento, esa génesis de Mckenna con la natación, Alessandra?
Bueno, cuando los chiquitos eran chiquitos, tengo 4 hijos, ella más o menos tenía, creo que 2 años, y obviamente los puse todos en lección de nadar, le encantaba a ella, y tiene su hermana mayor, también bueno, todos mis hijos han nadado, y las 3 mujeres, tengo 4, un hombrecito y 3 mujeres. Las 3 mujeres todas han nadado el nivel más alto en la universidad. Pero graciosamente la hermana más grande, que no sé, tenía talento, entonces dijimos, ok, la ponemos en el equipo de natación para el verano, ¿me entiendes? En Texas. Y Mckenna, ella quería, tenía creo que 3 años, y insistía que quería ir. Entonces, bueno, la llevé al entrenador del equipo, le dije, mira, me molesta que quiere nadar, quiere competir. Entonces, bueno, la pusieron en la piscina y bueno, como era tan chiquita, le pusieron las aletas para que pueda, ¿me entiendes?, estar con las chiquitas de 6 y 7 años. Y así comenzó, y así fue desde el primer día, ¿me entiendes? Que ella, y no sé qué es que quería hacer lo que hacía la hermana mayor o qué cosa, pero bueno, de ahí salió para adelante.
O sea que su convivencia con el agua, Alessandra, ha sido a los 2 años.
Exactamente.
Prácticamente ha caminado en el agua.
Exacto, se puede decir.
Así es, así. Bueno, estamos con Rosita Muñoz. Yo estoy acá un poco para cualquier eventualidad. Rosita, prosiga usted con Alessandra y con Mckenna. Y solamente un detalle. A Mckenna la veo muy locuaza, es extraordinario. Es una mujer muy extrovertida. ¿Qué otro rasgo nos puedes decir de tu hija más allá del tema deportivo, Alessandra?
Bueno, en verdad que es una niña bien enfocada en las cosas que ella quiere hacer, ¿me entiendes? En el sentido de que ella decide que quiere hacer algo y va a hacer lo que pueda hacer para llegar al método. Y así es con todo, con sus estudios, cuando se pelea con sus hermanos, con todo. Y definitivamente desde chiquita hasta ahora le gusta ganar. Ella siempre, la cosa más importante es ganar.
Eso está bien, es competitiva y eso le ha servido también para el deporte, claro. Gracias, Martín, por salvarme. Se fue el internet por ahí, un problemita de conexión, pero ahora sí, continuamos, Alexandra. Me gustaría saber acerca de esa influencia de Mckenna con la cultura peruana. Me gustaría saber cuál fue, si desde pequeña, desde bebé justamente, le inculcaron estas raíces que tenía por parte del abuelo, o es algo que se fue dando quizá en el camino y obviamente ella fue aprendiendo con los años.
Claro, desde el comienzo, mira, especialmente cuando mis hijos eran chiquitos, íbamos a Lima 1 o 2 veces al año, constantemente. Cuando mi papá se retiró, él se regresó a Lima. Entonces mis padres se regresaron a Lima y todavía Mckenna ni había nacido y constantemente íbamos a Lima. Entonces los chicos, desde chiquitos, yendo a Lima, nadando en el club regatas, cosas así. Y bueno, así fue desde el comienzo. Y una vez cuando se ponían más grandecitos, y bueno, pues ya la vida y el deporte, ya vamos a ir a los, no sé, 12, 13 años, pues ya menos íbamos y ya comenzaba a ser cada año y medio que íbamos al Perú, un poco más difícil cuando tienen tantas demandas, vamos a decir.
Claro, claro. ¿Cuál es el apellido del abuelo, Alexandra? Me da mucha curiosidad.
Él se llama John Elliot.
Elliot.
Sí.
Ok. Buenísimo, esa influencia justamente peruana que ahora como ella dice, no le fluye, le nace, no le parece algo extraño.
Claro. Bueno, y los
pasa
dos,
con algunos competidores que les
obviamente
cuesta.
Claro, mi mamá es peruana también, los dos son peruanos.
Ah, mira.
Sí.
¿El apellido de la mamá, Alexandra?
Apellido es Brasky.
Ah, mira, perfecto. Entonces, conociendo un poquito más justamente de las raíces de Mckenna. Y ahora, cuando empieza a competir, Alexandra, y el tema de viajar, obviamente, de tener que moverse, de tener que sacrificar seguramente el tema de los estudios, la universidad, el colegio, debe haber sido también algo bastante duro, ¿no? Sobre todo cuando uno es adolescente, pues, y quiere repartir el tiempo entre todo y tiene que empezar a madurar más rápido. ¿Lo tuvo esto Mckenna? ¿Le costó lidiar con ello?
No, sabes que ella es bien organizada. Y como digo, tiene, no sé, le gusta sus estudios, le gusta hacer bien el colegio y le gusta hacer bien en la natación. Entonces, se dedicaba a dividir su tiempo y ponerlo de acuerdo para poder hacer bien en todo. Y entonces nunca fue un problema de que, ay, no quiero ir al colegio porque quiero nadar. Hasta te digo muchas veces, cuando era más jovencita, me tienes 10, 11 años, y ella se estresaba porque quería hacerlo todo lo mejor posible. Y a veces yo le decía, no, le dije, si te vas a estar tan estresada, no vas a ir a práctica de natación, te quedas acá y haces tu trabajo del colegio. Le dije, no puedes estar así, ¿me entiendes? Que te haces la vida tan complicada. Y muchas veces también le decía, oye, hija, no tienes que salir 100 en todo. Puedes sacar un 90, está bien, no tiene que ser todo la A más, ¿me entiendes? Puedes sacar una B, está bien, pero ella siempre muy demandante con ella misma.
No, está bien, la mayor exigencia que puede haber es de uno mismo, justamente, y eso te ayuda a conseguir resultados porque eres tu propio rival, por así decirlo, cada vez lo quieres hacer mejor. Alexandra,
Claro.
¿todavía la acompañas a ella a sus competiciones?
Sabes que ella, muchas va por su cuenta, si son las bien grandes, hemos ido bueno, fuimos al mundial que fue en Budapest, al mundial que fue en China, y en Corea no fuimos porque es muy difícil, tienes que sacar visa, era un poco complicado la situación. Y graciosamente yo fui a su primer sudamericano, que solo tenía 14 años, que fue en Belém. Ahí esa vez sí fui, y gracias a Dios en esas épocas el Perú me dejó ir, el director de la federación me dejó ir como chaparón, ¿me entiendes? Porque era su primero, tenía pues solo 14 años, y su español no era tan bien, yo tenía un poco de miedo. Pero te digo, después de eso, excepto por los panamericanos que fuimos, y esa fue una delicia porque fuimos toda la familia, los 6 de nosotros, más tenemos unos amigos muy buenos de familiares que son americanos, que querían verla nadar también. Ellos vinieron, todos fuimos al Perú para hacerle barra, y después, bueno, después que terminó nos fuimos todos a Machu Picchu.
Ay, mira, qué lindo. ¿Era su primera vez conociendo Machu Picchu?
Para Mckenna sí,
Oh,
para mí no, ya yo creo que ya 3, 4 veces que he ido.
Mira tú, ¿y pudiste venir aquí para los Panamericanos?
Sí, sí.
¿Y qué tal desde tu perspectiva de madre, de saber que tu hija está siendo ahí ovacionada por todo el público? Sí, para Mckenna era una gran emoción, me imagino para ti también el orgullo de ver que la gente obviamente estaba a la expectativa de sus buenos resultados.
Claro, no, fue lindísimo, olvídate, el papel que puso Perú, y yo sé que comenzando para la planificación, que habían dudas, ¿verdad? Que personas pensaban que el Perú no lo iba a poder hacer, y no,
Claro, pues,
salió
tiempo.
increíble salió.
Claro, ¿no? Todo el despliegue que hubo en cuanto a logística, desde la ceremonia de inauguración, la clausura. ¿Con qué momento te quedas, además de la participación, claro, de Mckenna, Alexandra?
Bueno, graciosamente me hizo gracia cuando estábamos en una, bueno, no sé, todo la presentación del país, yo creo, no sé, era especialmente me imagino cuando abrieron los juegos en el estadio, que entraban todas las personas, la presentación artística que hicieron, bien bonito, fue increíble.
Eso es verdad, Alexandra. Pero en un ratito, de nuevo con Mckenna, ¿la tenemos? Parece que...
Sí.
A ver, ahora sí, ya la tenemos. Mckenna, I was talking with your mom about experience of the Pan American Games. She said that she was really surprised by the logistic of the Peru, because in some moment, people thought that we wouldn't have time enough to prepare the Pan American Games, and then we did it, right? And I think it was really good. And I guess that you also think that it was really big.
Oh yeah, and I mean the facilities, everything was outstanding. The village was put together. I mean, the pool was incredible. I think that they did an excellent job in Lima on putting on those games.
Now, Mckenna, we have this year the Olympic Games, and of course, I guess you are really excited about it. You are looking for the classification, right? You're still looking, right?
Yes, correct. Yes, that's correct.
Can you tell us which competitions you have, or which points you have to in this case, take to be part of the Olympic Games? Which is the process?
So with Peru, it's whoever has like the B cut, and if more than 2 people have the B cut, then they go off of highest FINA points, which is like world rankings, based off of world rankings, and then you could also qualify if you get the FINA A standard, then that automatically qualifies you for the Olympics. And the FINA A standard is based off of who got top 16 the last Olympics, so who was 16th place, and they take that time, and that's FINA A. So I will be going to a meet in about 6 weeks down in Florida, and then possibly the Indianapolis Pro Series in the United States, and then Peru has their trials at the end of May in Lima.
And that would be in which month?
That's May.
Oh, May. Okay. Yes, we are really close, right, to the beginning of the Olympic Games, and it's something that has to happen, but really, really fast. Now, Mckenna, we would like to know about your training. How is a usual day in your life? How many hours you spend training, or how many hours you spend swimming, and which other exercise you have to complement with the water, right? It's not only that you get into the pool and then you start swimming, but maybe outside the pool, what else you have to do in order to be a complete athlete?
Yeah, so I practice Monday through Saturday. I have doubles, which means I practice in the morning and then afternoon, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Those sessions are about 2 hours long each, so about 4 hours total for the 2 sessions. And then everything else is just singles, so just 2 hours in the morning on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I also have to do weightlifting, so I spend about an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours in the gym doing weights. So we call it Olympic lifting, and working on my core, of course. And then also I do treatment here at a chiropractor office, and he helps me just with the tightness that you can get through practice. I also do a lot of stretching. Each night before I go to bed, I do about 30 minutes of stretching. So it's a lot, but it's worth it. It keeps you healthy, keeps your body going. So I wouldn't do anything different.
Yes, it's a lot of effort, right? It sounds difficult, for example, for me, that I'm not used to do those kind of things, but that is what makes you professional, right? And that's good. Now, I would like to know that about the models that you have in swimming, maybe about inspiration that you have, people that you admire, and other athletes that you admire, and maybe you would like to have that level one day, or maybe that style of life. Can you tell us about it, please, Mckenna?
Yeah, so I have two of my friends that I really look up to. One of them is Beryl Gastadillo, who's a French swimmer. She was my teammate at Texas A&M, and she just has this ability to step up on the block. She doesn't care who she's racing. She dives into that water and she wins. She's hungry. She has this mentality, like once she's going, she is going, and there's no stopping her. And her energy is contagious. And I love that about Beryl. Beryl's also an incredible teammate. And so she helps bring you up with her. She lifts you up. She forces you to make good decisions. She's really good. Another one is Sydney Pickram. She's also another teammate. She's a Canadian Olympian. She's an IAMer, an individual medley swimmer. And she is just someone who's constantly, she pushes you, She also wants to help bring you up to her level. And she's a world medalist, an Olympic finalist. She's done some incredible things. And then probably my last role model is a friend of mine, Caleb Dressel. I swam with him back in high school. And something that I love about Caleb is just how he approaches the sport and his balance towards the sport as well. He's very good at making sure that there's a good balance between working hard, but then also taking care of yourself and doing things that you love outside of the sport. And he's really good at overcoming adversity. And I really admire that and really look up to him. And he just has a different perspective. So I always have loved listening to him. So those are probably my 3 people that I look up to.
And I guess, Mckenna, you have a coach, right?
Yes, Matt Credich is my coach here at Tennessee. He is incredible. He's very patient, I have to say. Very, very patient. He is a super good listener, and he's also really smart. He just knows. He's in with science and technology and knows how to incorporate that into swimming. And so I think that's why his swimmers are so elite. And that's why I wanted to come here and train with him, because I knew that he could help take me to the next level.
Mckenna, what do you think a person needs to be a good swimmer?
I think the number one thing is passion and drive. I definitely wouldn't consider myself the best in the world by no means, but I have a lot of passion and drive, and that's taking me to new heights and new places. And so I think that that's the most important thing you need to have is just passion and drive.
And well, you only have 24 years, right? Have you thought about your next goals? What would you like to achieve to say, okay, I think I got like the top?
So I think for me, I just like taking it day by day. I think what we've all learned in COVID, going through the pandemic, is that like nothing is for certain. And so that has taught me to just like make daily goals every day, come in, accomplish those. You know, of course, have the bigger picture goals, but not focusing too much on that, but how we can get better every day. I think it can be overwhelming when you have these insane goals over a long period of time, because sometimes you can get caught up in that and you lose the focus of just enjoying the moment and what you have with your team and those practices. So that's why I just tried to stick it day to day.
Do athletic swimming have an age limit or something like that, that you stop doing that, or it's something that you can do as long as you feel competitive?
Yeah, I think for sure swimming, I just want to do it for as long as I enjoy it. I think that that's the most important thing for me. There's obviously been moments in my career where I don't enjoy it and I've been pretty miserable. And so it's like, once I feel like I'm not enjoying it the way that I used to, that's probably when I'll hang up the cap and goggles. But right now I'm in such an incredible environment and I'm loving it. And I have so many goals I want to accomplish within the sport, and especially for Peru, that I'm nowhere near done, but I take it day by day.
Have you thought about what would you like to do after you finish your career as a swimmer? Maybe another thing that you like to do nowadays?
Yeah, so I'm currently studying for the MCAT, which is the exam that gets you into medical school here in the United States. So I have dreams of becoming a doctor. It's always something that fascinates me. So that's what I'm working towards.
And a doctor of what? Have you decided which is the part of medicine that you would like to dedicate your life to?
I love kids, so possibly something within pediatrics. I definitely want to specialize. I love school. I think that knowledge is power, and you can never learn enough. Like, I think that there's always, and especially in the world of medicine, it's always evolving. So I'm not sure yet entirely, but I'm gravitating more towards pediatrics.
Oh, that would be great. And what do you usually do, Mckenna, when you are not swimming, when you are not in the pool? What do you usually do? Another activities, hobbies?
I usually am with my friends. I love socializing. So going out to dinner, having a couple of drinks on the weekend, just relaxing. Just trying new foods in Knoxville. I think it's important, again, to have that balance, to decongest. That's important to me, and taking care of my mental health. And what makes me happy is definitely being around people that I love. And so I love just hanging out with my friends.
Have you ever thought about coming here to Peru and teach, or maybe make swimming something bigger than today, that nowadays maybe?
Yeah, definitely. I've had a few discussions with my mom about moving down to Peru for a little bit, because my grandma lives there. And so it would be a perfect setup, like living situation. But again, day by day, I have no idea what the future holds for me. So if that's kind of what my calling is, it's something that I'll go and chase after.
Okay, now I know that this is like a really common question, but everyone who talks about Peru talks about the food, and I would like to know, and I know that everyone wants to know, which is your favorite food, your favorite dish here in Peru?
Probably lomo sandado. I love that dish. And Peru ceviche. I mean, their Peruvian ceviche is incredible. So probably those two.
Yeah, definitely. Always ceviche. Okay, that's good. Alexandra, just one question. Mckenna habló de lo que es venirse a vivir a Perú, y tú más o menos, ¿qué piensas acerca de lo que podría ser esta decisión en un futuro? Quizá quedarse aquí unos años, ser una influencia en la natación peruana, obviamente, hacer historia aquí también.
Claro, claro.
Más
No,
allá de los
nosotros,
títulos que obviamente está consiguiendo.
claro, no, nosotros siempre la apoyamos para las cosas que quieres. Y le hemos dicho a todos nuestros hijos, a todos los hijos, nuestros hijos les decimos, porque nos van unos cuantos años. Y bueno, ¿para qué? Porque a veces tú los llevas los chicos para vacación, ven a su familia, pero en verdad entender parte lo que son ellos, porque yo soy peruana 100%. La única razón que tengo pasaporte americano es porque me casé con un americano. Pero para que nuestros hijos conozcan la parte que es de mi familia, ¿entiendes? Que por lo menos 1 año, 2 años, y que en verdad, más de todo, que aprenden el idioma correctamente.
Eso es cierto. Now, Mckenna, what do you know, phrases maybe in Spanish?
Like vamos Peru, that's usually what we say. Arriba Peru, that's kind of the phrases that we use a lot at the meets. So yeah.
So maybe you think that you need to learn more, right?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I can always learn more Spanish, 100%.
But do you speak another language?
No, just English.
Do you think Spanish, well, what you have heard, it's difficult?
No, and I learned Spanish growing up through school, you know. I don't think it's a hard language. I just think it's a language that, I mean, just like any other language, that you need to be surrounded by constantly in order to become good at it. And it's not like my friends speak fluent Spanish. Like the only exposure that I would really get in it is at class and then at home if my mom decided to speak Spanish. But other than that, you know, I was never persistent about speaking it just because my friends don't speak it. So that's like a reason why I'm, you know, it's not as good as it should be.
But it will be really good, definitely, because that way, well, you say that Alexia, maybe, and Marife, they also speak English, so it's easier for you, but it would be good for you also to learn Spanish, right? Now, this last question, Mckenna, what message would you give to all the people, maybe children who are thinking about swimming as a professional athletes, or maybe that inspire on you? They have your model, they would like to be like you. What would you tell them? What would you maybe recommend them in order to have success?
I think that the biggest thing that I feel like I can give to them is, in words, is that you just never give up. And I know that that's super cliche and that's said a lot, but the sport comes with a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and more times than not, it's more downs. And it's so important that you look at those failures as learning opportunities and to keep pushing forward. Because if I were to quit at, you know, failure number 1, I would have quit long ago, and who knows where I would have been now, you know? So it's important that you just stick with it, you know, have passion and drive, and you keep going. It's like you have absolutely no idea what you can do in this sport until you do it. So just keep pushing forward.
That's good, Mckenna. I want to say thank you to Alexandra, and of course to LaCátedraDeportes for this conversation, for this interview. We learned a lot about you. Maybe we don't have that kind of information here because, you know, soccer here is like the most famous sport here, and maybe sports like swimming, like volleyball, like tennis, it's not something that we have a lot of information. But now that we could talk with you, it's something good, because now we know more about you, and of course someone that is going to represent us in the Olympic Games, and that is something to be proud of, right? So thank you, Mckenna, thank you, Alexandra, and Martín, are you there? Martín, ¿estás por ahí?
Sí, Rosita, vamos a tener un gran trabajo para traducir el tema. Solamente quisiera agradecerte, Rosita Muñoz, tú eres parte de la Cátedra Deportes, sabes que te queremos mucho, agradeciendo a Alessandra, y qué buenas noticias, ¿no? Va a ir a Tokio, Mckenna, y también va a venir al Perú, porque la natación la requiere, ¿no? Figuras extraordinarias, el deporte en general, y quisiera, Rosita, con tu permiso, estaba escuchando, yo también speak English un poco, ¿ah? Mckenna, que se despida con un arriba Perú, pues, con un arriba Perú, con un viva Perú, Mckenna.
Okay, Mckenna, Martin says if you can say arriba Perú.
Arriba
goodbye to
Peru.
everyone.
Yes, arriba Perú.
Ahí está Martín.
Alessandra, gracias.
Gracias a todos.
Gracias. Cuídense
Gracias.
mucho.